Hi there, welcome to the online live stream class for Ottawa Swordplay. This is our solo longsword class for December 5th. I'm Marla, one of the instructors here at Ottawa Swordplay. And as always, we're going to get started with our warm-up exercises. So first things first, we're going to do 10 of our foot rotations. So you don't need your sword for this, but if you have it, you can just hold it in front of yourself like this. I'm going to go on the balls of my feet, and I'm going to rotate so that I'm facing one direction, and then rotate the other direction. That's 1. We're going to do 10. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. Next up, we're going to do our thumb grip transition practice. This is our thumb grip flip action. We're going to hold our sword in one hand. We're going to flip up into the thumb grip, pushing with the heel of our hand to make that transition happen, and then come back down, back to our handshake grip. We'll do 10 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now we're going to switch to our offhand. Same thing, one hand on the sword. Going to go from our handshake grip, flip up into our thumb grip. That's 1. We'll do 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now we're going to do our windshield wiper or our Scheitelhau warm-up action. So to do this, we're going to hold our sword in our thumb grip, so thumb up on the flat, tuck your elbow in by your side. We want a nice 90-degree angle happening here. And we're going to lower our sword to the outside, back up to the inside. That's 1. Let's do 10. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, same thing on the other side now. Hand in the thumb grip, thumb is up on the blade, elbow at our side, nice right angle, and same thing, we're going to go out to the outside, back up to the inside, and back. That's 1. Let's do 10. That's 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. For our next warm-up action, we're going to do our fundamental Zooken action, the pulling action. So we're going to stand with your feet about shoulder width apart, and then put your sword as if you're in our Boar Guard. So point is pointed at our opponent's, our imaginary opponent's face, and our pommel is pointing out past our side. So from the side you can see just like this. And we're going to bring our arms forward, and then pull them back to the other side. We're going to do this back and forth 10 times, and you should try and keep some tension in your arms here. You want to be doing this almost like you're pulling on a pinball machine. So we'll do 10 of these, going forward, back, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 10. All right, 2 more warm-ups to go. We're going to do our rotator cuff exercise. So for this one, we're going to grab our sword with our hand reversed, so my thumb is pointed down towards my pommel. And I'm going to hold my sword up beside my head like this, nice right angle between my elbow here, and I'm going to go down and then back up. That's 1. And I want to try and keep the blade of my sword as straight as possible. All right, so let's do 10 of these. Go down, back up. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, and then same thing on the other side. So we'll switch sides, switch our hands. Same thing, thumb is on the end pointing towards our pommel. Sword nice and straight, 90 degrees with our elbow. We're gonna go down, back up, that's 1. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Now for our last warm-up today, we're going to do our single leg squats. So there's lots of different ways to do these, lots of levels of intensity. Pick the one that works best for you. Put your legs shoulder width apart, put all your weight onto your left side, and lift up your right foot. Now if this is hard, stay here, but if you've got the balance here, you're going to lower yourself down as far as you go, and then come back up. That's 1. We want to keep our leg nice and steady. We're going to do 6 of these, so lower yourself down, come back up. That's 2. Down and up, 3, 4, 5, and last one, 6. I like to hold my sword in front of myself like this for this, but some people also like holding their sword straight up above their head for that. So if you want to, go ahead and give that a try. All right, let's do the other side for our single leg squat. Same thing, legs, feet about shoulder width apart. Put all your weight now onto your right leg. Lift up your left leg, lower down, back up. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, 2 more, 5, and 6. Awesome. All right, that's all our warm-ups for today. We're going to move on to a little bit of footwork to get our feet moving before we add in some actions with our sword. Today, I want to focus on the idea of Abzug, which is how we get out safely from distance with our opponent. So for our footwork, it's all going to be steps backward. First things first, let's practice our passing steps going backward without our weapon. So you can put your sword down for this. We're going to start out in our basic normal stance. So I've got my left foot forward, I'm evenly weighted between my feet, and I like to put my hands on my hips here to help me with that hip engagement that we're going to do. So for our passing step forward, I'm going to engage my hips, rotate slightly on the balls of my feet, and then to go forward, I just step forward with my back foot. Going backwards, just as easy. I engage my hips, rotate on the balls of my feet, and my front foot goes backwards. My weight should be nice and even between both my feet, so it should be easy to choose whether I'm going forward or backwards after I've engaged my hips. If you're too far forward, if you're too heavy on the front foot, you'll find it a lot harder to take that backward step. All right, let's practice this going across the room. So go to one end of your room. I'm going to start just over here. Engage your hips, do that little foot rotation, step back. Hips, step. Hips, step. Hips, step. Hips, step. Hips, step. Awesome. All right, let's grab our swords and let's practice this footwork with a sword in hand. So I want to practice this from the Boar Guard. So our Boar Guard is our point forward guard with our pommel pointed out past our hips. Our tip is pointed at our opponent, and we can do this on either side. And when we move between our boar on our right side and our left side here, this is a lot like moving between the 5th and 7th winding. You'll see what I mean when we get into this. So, we're going to start out with our sword in our handshake grip. So, just like that, normal grip. And we'll start out in our Boar Guard. And remember, we're going backwards. So if I'm starting here, if I want to do my boar to boar transition and step backwards, I'm going to bring my sword across my body, which is going to help me engage my hips, and then I'm going to step back. So we're going to do this across the floor. So starting in your Boar Guard on your right side, sword goes across, hips engage, pass and step back. Sword, hips, step. Sword, hips, step. Sword, hips, step. Sword, hips, step. Last one, sword, hips, step. Let's do another set. This time I'll do it facing the camera so you can see exactly what's going on with my sword. So I'm still in that handshake grip. I'm in the Boar Guard, and we're going to go sword first, hips follow, step back. Sword first, hips follow, step back. Sword, hips, step. Sword, hips, step. Awesome. Now, we can also stand in the Boar Guard in our thumb grip, which is how we normally do our 5th and 7th windings. So let's try this footwork with that instead. So, I'm going to go into my thumb grip in my Boar Guard. So you can see that my thumb is up on the blade, and I'm in my Boar Guard like this. And I can do this same action with the step back, bringing the sword across my body, staying in the thumb grip. Now I'm in boar on my left side, my hips are engaged, and I step back. Do that front onto the camera as well. So here I am in thumb grip boar on my right, sword comes across, my point is staying in almost the exact same spot, my hips are engaged, and I step back. All right, let's do this one across the floor as well. So starting at one end, we're in our Boar Guard on the right, in our thumb grip, sword goes across, hips engage, step back. Sword, hips, step. 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 Awesome. All right, one more time, back across. Same thing, Boar Guard in the thumb grip. We're going from boar to boar. Sword goes first, hips follow, step. Sword, hips, 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 step. Nice. All right, so let's get into the meat of what we're looking at today, which is this concept of Abzug, which we don't really have a good English translation for, but it's this concept of getting out safely from whatever distance you're at. When you're in a fight with someone, your fighting distance changes dynamically. As you're moving, they're moving, what's happening at your swords changes as you're stepping around each other. So a really important skill is being able to pay attention to what's happening with that distance and then make decisions about whether you want to get in closer or if you want to get back out a little bit to give yourself more time and distance to decide what you're going to do. Now, for myself, I think about my fight distance at about 3 different ranges. And I'm going to demonstrate those ranges with my handy pel here. When I am far enough from my opponent that our blades can't touch, but we're each about 1 passing step forward away from being able to engage each other, that's a wide distance. I have lots of time here to be able to react to whatever they're doing. A middle distance is when I'm at the bind with my opponent, usually somewhere between the last third and about halfway down my sword. So if I'm at a middle distance, then I'm at the bind and I can use my sword to defend myself, but I can also use my distance to defend myself. And then I think of the next closest level of distance as being wrestling range. So this is where I'm so close in that I'm able to engage their body, my opponent's body, with my hands, with my body, to wrestle them. No matter where we are in those 3 levels of distance, there's at any time we might decide to move out to a wider distance. And whenever we do that, we should do it in a way that keeps us safe. And Abzug is this concept of doing something, interposing your sword, doing something threatening, so that your opponent can't simply chase you as you do that removal of yourself to a further distance. So we're going to look at 4 different ways to do this, and we're going to start with our step back Zornhau. Now we've done this a number of times before, so we're going to start it in a different position. I'm going to get you to start out in the ox guard on your left. So this is our high guard, and on the left for me, as a right-handed person, this is my uncrossed side. So if you're left-handed, it's your uncrossed side that you want here. So I've got my point pointed forward at my opponent, my hands are nice and high, and they're doing something that makes me want to extend the distance, increase the distance between the 2 of us. So what I'm going to do is come down to my decision point. This is our speaking window. So I'm coming down from ox to in front of myself here, still in the thumb grip from being an ox, and then I'm going to step back and Zornhau into my opponent here. So ox, down to decision point, cut back into a Zornhau, ending up in my Boar Guard on my right side. I'll do that facing the camera as well. So I'm going from ox, down into my speaking window, stepping back with a cut into the center, ending in my Boar Guard. All right, let's practice this 10 times together, and I will do 5 of them facing this way and 5 of them facing the camera to give you a better view. All right, so ox guard, decision point, engage your hips, cut back into a Zornhau. Reset, that's 1, ox guard, decision point, Zornhau. Ox guard, decision point, Zornhau. Reset to ox, decision point, Zornhau with my step back. Reset to ox, decision point, Zornhau with my step back. Nice. That's 5. Let's do 5 more. I'll switch so you can see me this side. So from our ox, I'm going to come into my decision point, engaging my hips, and then cutting back down into a Zornhau from there. 4 more to go. Back to ox, decision point, cut down into boar. Back to ox, decision point, cut down. Back to ox, decision point, cut down. And last one, ox, decision point, cut down. All right. Of course, anywhere that you can do a Zornhau, anywhere where you can get to that decision point, you can cut into that Zornhau as you're moving out of distance. So you don't have to just do it from the ox guard. Now, the second one that I want to look at that is a great Abzug technique is the parter. So that's our scalp cut, our Shielhau, and we're going to start this one from our Boar Guard on the right side. So for me, this is my crossed hands Boar Guard. Hands are crossed. I've got my point pointed at my opponent, pommel pointed out past my hips, like so. And from here, I want to do a step back and do my parter cut. So I come forward to my decision point, I pop my pommel up in front of my face, and my point is going to dip down in front of the face of my imaginary opponent. And at the same time, I'm taking my passing step backwards to get out of distance. So once again, from the other side, I'll give you it here. I'm in my Boar Guard. I see that whatever my opponent is doing means that I want to get out of there and open up the distance. So I bring my sword forward, I pop my pommel up to do that parter cut as I'm taking my passing step backwards to finish my parter. And then from here, if you want, you can always recover to a high Abzug to get even further out. So we'll just practice it with the parter, but it is it's there for you if you want to add it in, that step back to your high Abzug. So let's do this one 10 times. We'll start out facing the camera, and then I'll do the last 5 on the side there. So we'll start in our Boar Guard on our right side, hands are crossed. Sword comes forward to our decision point, pop the pommel, step back with the parter. That's 1. Decision point, pop the pommel, step back. That's 2. Reset. Decision point, parter, step back. That's 3. Reset. Decision point, pop the pommel. That's 4. Reset. Decision point, pop the pommel, step back. That's 5. All right, 5 more to go. I'm going to switch so you can see me this way. Same thing, Boar Guard, decision point, pop the pommel, step back. Reset, decision point, parter. Reset, decision point, parter. Reset, decision point, parter, and last one. There we are. Now, this is a really great way to get that threat right out in there, because your point is going to be right in your opponent's face, which really discourages them from chasing after you. And there's another great way that we can use this same action, and it's when we think we're going to do a Zornhau, think that we're going to do our normal setting forth, but whatever our opponent is doing says, no, we need to get back out of here. And you can kind of think of this as starting a Zornhau and ending with a parter, which is what our decision point lets us do. So how does this work? We'll start in our Tower Guard. So I'm in the Tower Guard with my sword on my right. And then I've brought my sword forward and engaged my hips. And here I'm in our speaking window, our decision point. And if at this point here, I think, no, a Zornhau is not what I need to do here, I need to step back, then this is where I'm going to do that transition to doing a parter with a step back, instead of a Zornhau with a step forward. Like so. This might happen The classic example is if someone is coming in and they go low and they're going for your leg. In that case, finishing your setting fourth is only going to bring you closer to that strike low. And you might hit them, but they're probably also going to hit you. And the number one thing we want to do first is keep ourselves safe and then hit our opponent. So instead, we'll do this change where we're making a decision. Instead of doing our Zornhau, we're going to do the parter. So let's try 10 of these. Starting in our tower, extend into that decision point and engage our hips, and then we decide, nope, it's time for a parter, pop the pommel, and step back with your parter. Reset, we'll do that again. And all right, reset, we're going to do that again. We're going to come forward, engage our hips, pop the pommel, step back. Reset, engage our hips and extend our sword, pop the pommel, step back. I'm going to extend, engage our hips, pop the pommel and step back. And I've lost count, so let's do 3 more. Come forward to our decision point, step back, parter. Reset, forward, step back, parter. Last one, forward, step back, parter. Awesome. So I know we're getting a little bit close to the end of our time. I've got 2 more things that I want to show you quickly, so we'll go through them a little bit faster. The next one is das Gaslin, which is an option for if we're in boar on our left side. So we were just doing that parter with boar on our right side. If we're instead on our left side, this is my uncrossed side, doing the parter from here actually shortens my reach because of how my hands end up positioned compared to the other side. So instead, I can do das Geyseln, which is I'm going to leave my lower hand on the pommel, and I'm going to let go with my upper hand and let my sword go nice and long at my opponent. So I'm in boar, and I'm going to engage my hips, and I'm going to step back, and let my arm go straight out like this, which is a pretty good deterrent for someone who's trying to chase me. And then I'm going to pull back to my boar on my right side. Do that from the other side here. So I'm in boar on my left side. I see I need to get out with an Abzug, engage my hips, put my sword out there, step back, and then recover to my boar. So let's try that. Let's try that 5 times together. So starting in boar on our left, we're going to engage our hips, extend our sword out, and step back. Feel free to let your arm go nice and wide, and then recover back to our Boar Guard. 4 more times. Hips, extend, recover, reset, engage, das Geyseln, recover, back to Boar Guard, extend, recover, last one, engage those hips, throw that sword out there, and recover back to your Boar Guard. Awesome. Now I said I'd do 4, so I'm going to do our last one for today, which is stepping back with a Shielhau or shielder. And this is a slice down along the line of our shoulder. And this is a nice one, especially if someone is changing the angle against you and you want to bring a nice defense in between you and them. And we're going to do this one starting from our tower guard. So I'll show it to you this way first. So same thing as a lot of the ones we did before. We're going to come forward to our decision point. Then we've decided we need to get back out of this place. We're going to go into our thumb grip, do that thumb grip transition, and then as we step back, slice down in line with our left arm if you're right-handed like me. I'll do that from the side so you can see what that looks like. So here I am in the tower guard. I come forward to my decision point. I do that thumb grip transition, and then I step back, slice down, and I'm right in line with this arm with that shoulder. All right, let's try 10 of those, and that'll be our last set for today. So we'll set to our tower, come forward to our decision point, thumb grip, step back, Shielhau. Reset to tower, decision point, thumb grip, step back, Shielhau. Make sure you're getting that nice slice at the end of your Shielhau there, your shielder. All right, 8 more to go. Back to tower, extend, thumb grip, step back with the Shielhau, reset, extend, tower, shielder with a step back, reset, extend, thumb grip, shielder with your step back, reset, extend, thumb grip, shielder, step back. 3 more, tower guard, extend, thumb grip, shielder, reset, tower guard, shielder with your step back, and last one, extend, thumb grip, shielder with your step back. So there you go. There's a couple of actions that we can use in order to extend the distance that we have between us and our opponent while using our sword to maintain a threat between ourselves and our opponent so that they can't just chase in after us while we are trying to open up that distance between us. Hope that was a fun class. Hope to see you again next week, and take care. Hope you're all having a great December.